The Channel Islands. While that name probably rings a bell, it's not that likely you've ever actually visited this cluster of islands found about 25 miles off the shore of Santa Barbara, California. But don't feel too bad, after all, this is my first time. And the Channel Islands National Park is technically the least visited national park in the United States. Not because it's boring, it just takes some doing to get out here. The Channel Islands were created by tectonic forces which caused them to rise out of the ocean about 5 million years ago. They have always been separate from the mainland, which is why they have unique plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth, including the island fox. That said, people have been frequenting the Channel Islands for a very, very long time. 2 human femurs dubbed the Arlington Springs Man were discovered in 1959 and were believed to date back 13,000 years, meaning humans were here visiting near the end of the last ice age. Visiting this unique ecosystem with such a rich history has been on my bucket list for years. So, when a guy I just met offered to take us 30 miles offshore to do some fishing and visit the Channel Islands National Park, I threw caution to the wind and said yes.
Yeah, we made good first impressions. This ought to be a nice day.
Luckily, our new buddy Jethro ended up being pretty legit, and it turned out he owned the Blue Water Hunter dive shop. Probably one of the coolest spots in Southern California. Now we just gotta figure out what fish are in season. In showbiz, MOS, or Man on the Street, is short for asking random strangers questions to gather information or opinions. Now, I've always enjoyed watching those over-dramatized adventure shows that feature a host traveling the globe, meeting new people, and attempting to solve some sort of mystery. Now, on this trip, I can sort of relate. I'm heading out to the Channel Islands, a place I've never been, with people I've never met, and I have no idea what kind of fish we'll encounter or the best way to catch them. So I channel my inner Jeremy Wade and head to the local fish market to ask some questions.
How you doing?
How's it going, man?
Kyle Green.
Noah, how's it going?
Noah, nice to meet you.
You too.
So we're going out fishing, and I'm trying to get an idea because we're fishing with some new people. And I'm trying to figure out, if we go out to the islands, what are we going to catch? What are local fishermen bringing in right now, and how are they doing it?
So the primary local fish we have here in Santa Barbara are going to be our local rock cod here.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of different types of rock cod. We got vermilion rock cod, which is going to be the nice, bright red ones. We also have local ling cod, which is another type of cod. And then those are going to be caught jigged a little bit further out at the islands.
How deep?
Probably around 300 or above. And then deeper than 300, you're going to be getting the black cod, which is a really oily, fatty fish, also known as sable fish.
Sable.
Yeah, caught out here in the islands.
Is it healthy?
Very healthy, really nice fat content. Does really well with a nice like miso glaze. We love it that way. Yeah, and then you might get some yellowtails as well, some local Pacific yellowtails if you're lucky.
Are they trolling for those? Or?
Yeah, trolling primarily, also jigging, and then you're also going to get some ocean whitefish here. We've got these ones. Those are really nice. I love those.
If you were going out and you're like, I want to try and get as many fish in the boat as possible, regardless of quality, and you're going to the islands, you'd recommend jigging then?
Definitely.
And how deep?
300 or deeper, for sure.
Okay. That gives me something to start with. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Good luck out there, man.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
Yeah.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. And by Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by these other fine sponsors.
I made a mutiny joke to the captain in there, and he didn't laugh at all.
He turns around and goes, if you think you're getting this boat from me, you got another thing coming.
Yeah, we made good first impressions. This ought to be a nice day. It's weird to have somebody else drive your boat for you and tell you what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, spent a $250,000 on this boat, and now I'm the deck man. I guess he's like, that's how it works, I guess.
He's the skipper, okay.
Is that we shouldn't guess.
Gilligan's Island, that's all I know.
He loves this song. Like music.
Yep, let's mock them. That's good.
Yeah. You see him go like this? Okay. And he like comes, hey.
The captain's explaining, goes, and also they can be very aggressive and they can jump up to 30 feet.
That playful pod of common dolphins was our welcoming committee to Potato Harbor on Santa Cruz Island. It got its name because it's shaped, well, like a potato. Now, Jeff's tried to stick me with some nicknames like that over the years too, but I think my head's shaped completely normal. Anyhow, let's break down the crew. Jeff and I, you know, and this is our good buddy Steve, and he lives in Santa Barbara and set this whole trip up. Jethro, he owns the boat and is an expert diver and spearfisherman. Our captain, well, he kept his mask on most of the day, and honestly his distance from us, which I guess it's hard to blame him for. Last but not least, you got Steve's good buddy Nick Loper. He's the one that brought all the fishing gear and local knowledge to help us be successful on rod and reel. This guy drank a tall boy of tomato juice and beer at 7 a.m., so we knew he'd be a good time. Loper kicked things off by teaching us how to catch bait.
This is called a sabiki rig, and we have 5 or 6 flies on it.
Okay.
And it's for catching little sardines and mackerel.
For bait fish.
Smelt bait fish.
Okay, so just the weight, drop it down, jig it, and they'll just bite this, huh?
They'll just bite that, yeah, and you'll get like, if there's like a frenzy down there, we're in a school, you'll load them all up at once.
Really?
And you bring it up and somebody's getting out of here. You drop that thing down, hit the bottom, and kind of raise maybe a crank or two and just kind of jig it. If there's anything down there, it'll bite it.
Oh, good job. Oh, you put it in my face?
I said grab the weight, then you didn't, and then I kept going.
When we were catching bait, that's what I thought, that's what I expected, and then that's what I got. Careful, my bait will eat your bait.
Oh, more bait. Oh, wow. Oh! Fish on! Fish on!
He said smaller, Jeff. He said get smaller ones.
Have you caught anything yet?
No, because all I have is giant bait.
Once we had enough smelt for a fish fry and anchovies for a pizza, it was time to put that bait to good use. And while we knew catching a halibut was a bit of a long shot given the time of year, Loper still wanted to teach us how to do it.
Feels like it's pretty shallow.
Okay.
17. We're gonna let it get a little bit behind the boat here.
So we're almost kind of just dragging it?
Yeah, so we're just gonna drag it real slow until you're gonna feel the tension of the sinker on the sand, you know? And hopefully I don't have to drag it too. Those halibut like to
Run?
Suck it for a while, you know?
Oh.
And then before they actually eat the hook, they like to suck it for a while.
Got it. All right.
As Loper put it so, well, eloquently, halibut do tend to take their time when grabbing your bait. And overactive large minnows can make you feel like something's happening, even when it's not.
Do you do a hook set, or you just start reeling?
So no, this has a circle hook on it, so it'll set itself. I let it eat it for a while. You'll feel a little hit.
I'm feeling that right now.
Okay, so it could be. Well, I think
could be that fish. Yeah.
And the drag on the bottom, but you'll feel a bigger one.
Despite a group effort and a lot of lines in the water for a few hours, we never did hook up with a halibut. Jethro made the call for us to switch to targeting whitefish in the rough waters right outside Potato Harbor. I felt more confident about the jigging in deep water after the advice I got from Noah back at the fish market. For bait, we're just going to be using cut squid, but if our Dramamine doesn't kick in soon, we might be chumming the waters by accident.
If we were ever going to be seasick, now's the time. I brought Dramamine. Does that make me a nerd?
I think it does. Don't tell them that.
It is a little trippy though, because like
it's doing something different than you're doing, and you're staring at that because it like grabs your attention, and then everything's just churning, and it's like a milkshake of doom.
A milkshake of doom. All right.
Growing up fishing freshwater lakes, wind and waves typically meant poor fishing. But here we are, getting tossed all around the boat and getting bites. A little bit of a backstory, Steve has always loved to spearfish, but he's never caught a fish on rod and reel. Kind of funny, he was the first one to officially hook up with a whitefish. And while I'm trying to boat the fish, it gets off, but its swim bladder expanded, so it was just floating at the surface. For those of you that don't know what that means, fish have a swim bladder. It's like a big air sac on the fish's body. It regulates their buoyancy for different depths of water. When hooked and brought up to the surface at a high rate of ascent, the swim bladder expands too fast for the fish to regulate, causing pressure within the fish's body cavity. This is known as a barotrauma. Now, while trying to maneuver the boat around to grab it, Jeff also hooks up with a whitefish, and while we were dealing with that, nature's tax man stepped right in.
Oh, the eagle got it.
Oh,
We know the rules. You are not supposed to feed wildlife, but this was kind of cool to see.
That was insane.
There I go.
How do you feel that your first fish out here, the beautiful whitefish that we bragged about, got knocked into the water and then ate by a bald eagle?
I can't believe it. That was amazing how quick it came in and just snagged it.
They call it Freaky Friday for a reason. It is Friday, right?
No, he's feeding America.
Oh, yeah. And I'm proud to be an American. I got a fish.
You going?
Yep.
Is he fighting real good?
Comes and goes.
You think it might be something different?
He's kind of flaky like you.
Yeah, I'm the flaky one.
Another whitefish. So we're gonna be eating good, that's for sure. Hello. Hello, little whitefish. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like saltwater fish have more muscle.
Another whitefish.
I think I'm in.
Same.
Hold on, I'm
Oh,
involved.
come on, guy.
I'm involved.
You just had to be involved, didn't you?
It's basically my fish now. I got a good one. Yep. I'll tell you what, I want to set the hook so badly because it's like my go-to. Okay, you can see him. Oh yeah, that's a good whitefish.
Oh, there it is.
Wow. I got the king of the whitefish. Woo! That's awesome.
It's a little bit smaller than mine.
No, it's not. It's bigger than all of them. They've got a real sharp, this right here behind their gill, that is sharp, and they know it, and they just would love to stick you with it, so you gotta be real careful.
I like that he talks about it like he knew that before today.
I knew it forever. He's beautiful though, the colors and the sun. Now, how much are these sought after as far as like in comparison to like the rockfish we were going for?
Well, you know, whitefish is the best ceviche, so it's a very desirable fish.
Okay, so like, are you surprised we got this, or you?
No, we're in whitefish country right here.
Okay.
Deep water. We have a sandy like bank coming up to a rock. They like that edge right there.
Okay. Well, it's the eagles. They got a view.
Oh, the eagles. Yeah,
they
the
get
eagles.
to see a lot. It's beautiful. You know.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Where is this in the size chart? Like,
Not quite a world record, but moving that direction.
how far away from the world record?
I'm pretty far.
Yeah. Okay. So they get big.
They get
big.
bigger.
Yeah. But it's the best one of the day. So it's like
It's
good for me, bad for them. Got it.
So ceviche, you said it's like a lemon juice thing?
Lemon juice, onion.
It's almost like a fish salsa.
It's
But
like
then
a
the
marinade.
acid kind of cooks the fish
Yes.
a little. Do we have that on board?
We do not.
Oh.
I know.
We got
What we do that
we
we
got a knife in the fish. Okay, that'll work.
Sushi.
We could do some sushi, yeah.
Yeah?
After we caught about 20 whitefish, everyone who poked fun at me for my Dramamine started to get pretty jacked up from the constant barrage of huge waves. One might even think I was right to be prepared after all. Either way, we decided to duck around the other side of the island in order to get out of the elements. We gave jigging a try, and while we could definitely see fish, they weren't biting.
This kind of reminds me of ice fishing in Michigan, because I'm looking down and I can see fish, but they're not biting, but I can see them, and I'm like trying to put my bait in front of them like the claw machine, you know?
How's that working out for you?
Not well.
Well, I think it's time to take matters in our own hand.
We only had a couple hours until we had to begin our trek back to the mainland, so we decided to throw on our wetsuits and do a little spearfishing in the chilly 50-degree water.
Hold your breath.
This was only the second time that Jeff and I have ever spearfished. The water itself was pretty clear, but the giant kelp forests that the fish were hiding in filled the water with little particles. I was pretty astounded by how many fish we were seeing, all different shapes and sizes, and the goal was to descend in the water column at an unthreatening rate while attempting to hide some of your body in the kelp for camouflage. When a fish worthy of dinner enters the 3 to 6 foot range from the end of your spear, you point and shoot. It sounds simple, but a fish's reaction time is pretty impressive. While chasing these fish around, I felt like a full-blown predator. But I also know that in 2019, in these exact waters, at the same time of year, a surfer was violently attacked by a great white shark. And once I flushed that thought out of my thoughts and calmed my nerves, I kept reminding Jeff that in his black diving suit, he definitely resembled a baby sea lion. And while my jokes probably at least kept Jeff observant, they didn't stop him from shooting a couple nice fish. As the sun was setting, we wrapped up and headed back in. That night, we would eat the fish we got spearfishing, but I couldn't wait to get back to Michigan and cook up the whitefish. The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row, and by Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Tracker Boats, fish the finest, and by these other fine sponsors.
Whitefish is all around one of the best tasting fish in the ocean. Now there's also lake whitefish, and a little fun fact about lake whitefish is because of their lifespan and because of what they eat, they have a ton of PCBs in their system. So you're actually only supposed to eat 1 whitefish per year out of the Great Lakes. However, ocean whitefish, unlimited, and a good thing because we caught a whole bunch of them. This basic recipe is going to give you a great full flavor and you're going to enjoy it. Let's get started.
The first step is to line a baking sheet with aluminum foil. Throw your fillets on there, add a little bit of salt, pepper, and drizzle with extra virgin olive oil. Then you're gonna throw your fish in the oven for about 15 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right, we've got our pan at medium-low heat, and we're going to add in our butter. It's already nice and hot. We're gonna swirl that around and let it melt. Next, we're gonna add in our shallots. We're gonna cook these guys down for about 3 minutes. Whew. I always feel like I cry more when I'm cooking them at first than I do when I'm cutting them because I'm really emotional about my onions. All right, those are nice and golden brown. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna turn off the flame. I'm gonna move it over here away from the heat. Then I'm gonna put the vermouth. Now, if it seems like I'm being a little bit crazy and going a little bit over the top, if you sprinkled any of that vermouth in, it would act as an accelerant and blow up, and I wouldn't have eyebrows, and none of you would want to watch me anymore. So we're not gonna do that. Now I'm gonna move it back over to the heat, get it stirring, and now I can start the flame back up. Okay, now we'll cook this down. Now that this is good and reduced, then we'll add 2 more tablespoons of butter, but we're gonna do it 1 at a time. We're just kind of cooking this down, swirling around the butter, keeping it moving. It almost has a black licorice smell, which is kind of cool. Literally, I mean, it smells like licorice, which is probably not what you would have expected for a fish. Okay, click the heat off, and we're gonna add in our heavy whipping cream and squeeze some lemons. And now this is really gonna thicken up. Once you start adding heavy whipping cream, the health factor kind of goes away.
but the taste factor goes way up. Oh yeah, I like extra lemon on any fish, so I'm gonna drizzle some more over the top. You don't have to do it, but I like it. These tomatoes Jeff had here for decorative purposes, we don't need those. This right here looks like one great bite. Now we left the skin on. Oh yeah, that is clean. We left the skin on, that's up to you. I think it makes it easier to cook and also keeps some of the juices from escaping out the bottom. That really does help. Don't bother with the decorative tomatoes no matter what Jeff says. Make this recipe, you're gonna enjoy this. And catching whitefish or any fish, this recipe is a good fit for. Get out, enjoy nature, enjoy fishing, and enjoy this recipe. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Kyle Green. This is the Green Me Outdoors. Stay green.
On this episode, we got the chance to catch a few whitefish and even spear a few others. The original plan was actually to go out on Loper's boat, but hours before our filming date, his boat motor blew. So we said a quick prayer and headed downtown to the marina to figure out a plan B. We just started asking anyone with a fishing boat who they would recommend. And that's when we heard about Jethro and Blue Water Hunter Dive Shop. He stepped up big time for us and arranged a captain for the next morning. On the boat ride back in after spearfishing, I reflected on the last 24 hours. How we went from having absolutely nothing to a full-blown completed episode in such a short amount of time. I have no doubt in my mind that the prayer had everything to do with it. It's so easy to look at a bad situation and feel like a victim. We've all been there. But I have found that the quicker you ask for God's help and get to work, the faster you'll be able to see His plan laid out for you. In the book of Jeremiah, God said, "I know the plans that I have for you. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope, plans to give you a future."
Maintaining a speed is impossible. We don't have to hug. Get off. Get
Hug it
off.
out, guys. Hug it out.
Yeah, all the pee stays in, huh?
This is just like
It
just
really
pools
does.
up right here. It just pools up. It's a thermal heating. It's like the best. As much as you're joking, that's like happening.
Are there sharks around here?
Want to know how you know if there's sharks around here?
Yeah.
Take your finger, put it in the water, taste your finger. If it's salty, there's sharks.
Okay.
That's what you get for asking stupid questions.
That doesn't work. Do I look edible to a shark or no?
I would eat you right up.
It's so disturbing. Everyone's like, oh.
I'm glad that I peed
It's going out my
beforehand,
feet.
so I didn't pee in a rental suit. You piece of garbage.